Hey guys, today we're gonna talk about the biggest style mistakes I personally have ever made, and I'm sure you guys have done it too. Welcome back guys, thanks for watching. As you know, we are trying to make it to 75K by the end of summer, so hit that subscribe button, share this video, give this video a thumbs up, tell your friends about it. We would really appreciate it. So, on to the video. So if you guys have watched our 5 huge style mistakes video, that was kind of more of a theory on how style evolves from the first time you put on a suit to once you become a dapper young gentleman. But this video is about the actual mistakes that kind of are made in each step of that process. So I'll link to that video down below. But number 1 on the list, not cutting the vents of your suit open or opening up the area for the pocket square. You know how there's things that are sewn shut on suits, so there's a little stitching up here. This is usually sewn shut, pockets are sewn shut, and then the flaps in the back are also sewn shut. I used to valet cars at a pretty nice hotel in Los Angeles, and you don't know how many times people would get out of their cars and I'd look at the back of their suits and there'd still be those 2 little X's on the vents, and I'm just like, do I say something? Do I don't say something? So guys, make sure that's the first thing you do. I think actually Blake and I accidentally filmed a video where the vents weren't cut out of the suit, but we won't talk about that because we cut out that footage. But yeah guys, cut the vents out the back of your suits. Make sure this pocket's open to throw a pocket square in. The second mistake every guy has made is on a suit jacket, they've buttoned all the buttons. Now, if you don't know already, if you have 3 buttons, the top 2 are the way to go. If you have 2 buttons, the top button is the way to go. The theory behind it is because some king got too fat one day and all of the townspeople decided to unbutton their bottom buttons to not make the king feel self-conscious. But now, even if that is true, the suits today are cut to leave the bottom button open, so it's just not gonna fit right if you button both buttons on the bottom. Next on the list, wearing clothes that are too big or too small. You know, you can definitely go very tight and you can definitely go way too loose. So if you have a bunch of extra pant leg bunched up at the bottom of your shoe, that's kind of a no-no. I remember I used to actually get my pants tailored so long that I still had probably at half a break once I sat down. You know when you sit down, your pants come up a little bit? Yeah, I tailored them so long that when I sat down, you still couldn't see my socks. So don't do that, guys. Also, you can go way too high the other way, so you know, over tailoring, too tight, too short, also not a good look. Next on the list, mixing too many patterns together. Now, you can mix patterns together. We have a video on pattern mixing. I'll have a link to it down below. But if you're going casual and like wearing like some patchwork loud shorts and then you want to mix like a plaid shirt on top, it's just gonna clash. It's not gonna look great together. So if you're going casual, make one statement with either a pattern shirt or a pattern pant, but don't do both. So solid up top or pattern on the bottom, solid up top. I think I just said that twice. So if you're gonna go pattern on the bottom, keep it solid up top. You're going pattern on the top, solid on the bottom. You'll be safe, it'll work, you'll be happy. Next on the list is kind of the exact opposite of mixing patterns, but matching everything together. So you know, if you're wearing a suit and you have like a lime green tie and a lime green pocket square and a lime green watch band, it's gonna look like you just stepped out of like prom and you rented a tuxedo. It's not a good look. You gotta mix some things up, mix the colors around. It's okay to keep complementary colors in things, but don't do the exact same pattern here, you know, everywhere. It's just, you know, mix things up a little bit. Funny story about matching everything, guys. Actually, I used to have a ton of Nikes. I was like a shoe collector for a long time. So I would always match my shirt to my shoes. Like if I had, you know, gold, red, and black in the shoes, gold, red, and black in the shirt. And I thought I was the shit. So I've learned from my mistakes. I do not do that anymore. But yeah, hopefully you guys can skip that step. Next up, white belts and white ties. I just don't think there's ever a good time or place unless it's like a white formal occasion, like you're wearing, you know, white tie, white bow tie, tails, the full 9 tuxedo. That's probably the only time a white tie is acceptable. And especially, this kind of goes into the category of like novelty ties too. So if there's like Santa Claus or a piano playing on your tie, probably leave that one at home. White belts, I will say, never really a good look, but in the golf community, I know it's very, very popular and it doesn't look that bad with the loud patterns that go with golf, but it is a uniform and I would not recommend it in everyday life. This one's on everybody's list, I know, but I gotta say it. So square-toed shoes, leave those at home, or actually don't ever buy them. And another thing I've done before, and I'm sure you guys have too, is white socks with dress clothes. So guys, we gotta get some dress socks, even if they're, you know, the fun pattern ones that have like sailboats on them or whatever. Cool, but invest in some dress socks that aren't your white athletic socks for the gym. They're, you know, different occasions, different socks. Next up, untucked dress shirts. Guys, if you're wearing a dress shirt which is specifically made to be tucked in, so they'll be a little bit longer than your typical like button-down Oxford, you gotta tuck those in. So basically, if your dress shirt comes past your crotch, like if you can't see any bit of your fly, it's too long, tuck it in. Now, if you have an Oxford or something that's a little bit shorter that comes like, you know, mid-crotch, mid-butt, perfect to be untucked, but don't leave it untucked with a blazer or suit jacket on. It just looks sloppy, doesn't look good. I know we've all done that because that was kind of like Hollywood style for a long, long time. It's like very like disheveled and like not that great of looking, which also brings me to my next point. You know, people would do that, they'd wear the ties, but they'd have them like half unbuttoned with the collar open. It just looks sloppy. It's not really a good look. I mean, you kind of feel like Avril Lavigne a little bit, I guess, that she made that kind of cool. And next up, guys, wearing belts and suspenders at the same time. Now, I've done this before. I thought it looked super cool. I had these white suspenders. I had a brown belt. Thought it looked dope. And after you think about it, you realize that belts and suspenders do the same thing. Suspenders hold up your pants. Belts hold up your pants. You do not need both. I've heard people say you can't wear suspenders if your pants have belt loops though. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think you can still wear suspenders, but I would get buttons sewn into the pants, just so you have the button suspenders and not the clip-ons. Those look kind of childish and cheesy. The next thing I've been guilty of is definitely jumping on too many trends. So for example, like over accessorizing was the thing, you know, ties a little bit too long, pocket squares, lapel pins, tie bars. Just kind of pulling in all these trends into one look did not really work together. They were a trend because they worked by themselves. And you know, kind of pick and choose your trends. Maybe try out one or two a year. Don't go with everything that's popular that year. Like, I mean, this year it's what, like slide sandals, souvenir jackets, hats, dad hats. So, you know, you don't need to jump on every trend. Find something that works for you. Pick one or two and, you know, focus on that, I would say. It's definitely better to go with classic styling than, you know, jump on trends and spend money that you don't need to with things that are not going to be popular in a few years. So think about that. And last but not least, guys, a bad haircut. I mean, in high school, I think I had emo bangs. I had long hair down to my shoulders. It was just, I thought I looked good, and it just wasn't a good look for my head shape and all that. I'll see if I can find a picture somewhere and put it up because you guys will not believe it. But I went through a lot of weird hair cutting phases. I had a mohawk for a little bit. Then I cut my own hair for about 3 years, which also not a good look. And then once I got a job, I graduated college, I decided that I needed to look a little bit more acceptable for things. So went to a barber, found a barber, kind of adjusted this hairstyle length throughout the years, but it's been pretty consistent ever since. So find a barber, but ask him his opinion because he's gonna, you know, he sees a lot of faces, a lot of hair, a lot of heads. He knows what's gonna work for you, and kind of give him some suggestions on what you're thinking. But you know, overall, trust his opinion and ask him a few questions on what he thinks as well. All right, guys, and that wraps up the style mistakes every guy has made. I know I've made all of these personally, that's why they're on the list, and I'm sure you've made some of them too. We are trying to make it to 75K by the end of summer, so hit that subscribe button, share this video, give this video a thumbs up, and thanks for watching. Like us on Instagram at Gents Lounge, hashtag your pictures, hashtag Gents Lounge, and leave us a comment down below the style mistakes we missed. Cheers, guys.